Teruvan Saranadiya Dhamma, dear friend of Dhamma, welcome to our English home talk. First, we would like to pay our Buddha Father Spiritual Dhamma guidance teacher, and we also like to thank you all attending this Dhamma home talk. We will discuss about Dhamma. What is important is to eradicate our greed, will, illusion. We need to be on the path to understand, realize, and pure truth. We have a dual of awareness. To the pure truth, awareness to nothing exists outside, no inside. We have to know that everything is thought and that we thought true, not true. It is a lie. We should develop awareness until we realize that we do not exist at all. When you realize that you do not exist, that is when you will totally drop your self-identity about yourself. Then is there anybody to become an Arahant? When you are at a stage of an Arahant, you connect to say that you will not be born again. And it's fourth stage Arahant. If one does not have a self, who is there is to say whether one will be born again or not. If there is no one, then who is there to be born again? Now, what should we understand? We should understand that there is no one, even at this moment. What is important for us to realize the point where we melt into nothing. For that, we should realize the pure truth. When we realize the pure truth and realize that there is no being, there is no person, and there is no self. Avidya Ashesha Nirodha means ignorance, not knowing the pure truth. If you have already realized the pure truth, you begin to feel the truth. When you feel the truth that nothing exists outside that, everything is thought. You begin to see the self in every thoughts when you're feeling to self-arise in thought. You will know. The pure truth is that there is nothing that exists outside and there is nothing that exists inside. The feeling of self is an illusion. It is not true. All the stimuli or experience of sound, color, taste, smell, touch, and mind are only thoughts. And thoughts are to don't exist. It is all a lie. No beings, no any living things exist. Nothing exists at all. This is the pure truth which we need to understand, and you must maintain this awareness or mindfulness of the truth whenever you have thoughts. Once you have realized the pure truth, you will be able to feel your self-identity rise in thoughts. You will be able to recognize it. That is wisdom. Being aware or being mindful is wisdom. If you like something, if you want to acquire something, that means that there is a feeling of self there. This means that we have to watch ourselves or be mindful of ourselves. We have to focus on ourselves, not the outside. We have to always be mindful and constantly check if your kindness arise. We have to see if you have a feeling of self-identity. If we realize that our self or our kindnesses exist in some point there. Then we have to compare it with the dharma, the pure truth. Then we have to question ourselves. If nothing exists, then how it is that I feel that I am here? If your pure truth means that here is nobody and that nothing exists, then we should not be feeling this me concept. If we concept nothing as true, then the self concept is also made instantly. If we believe that the thing exists, an illusory self is formed instantly along with the thing. Then you also can say that the thing is also me. If the pure truth means that there is nobody and that nothing exists, then it should not feeling this me concept at all. If we accept a thing as true, then a self concept is also made instantly and that very moment. It would also be something if we say the thing we believe exists is also me. In all if we say that it is me. It's a very important point to bring to your attention. Let's see how a thing is made. We have only six senses, haven't we? It is only through the six senses that we receive everything, isn't it? Whether there is a thing or not, everything is felt only by our mind consciousness. Vinyan, isn't it? The mind consciousness receive only sparks from the six senses. The six senses are the sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and thoughts from the mind consciousness. A spark that comes from the sight and a spark that comes from hearing create a thing in the mind consciousness. When we say a book, it is a thing what we truly believe that it is outside. But what is it actually? It is a spark from the sight and spark from the hearing sense. And these two spark from together and create a book to us, which we believe truly exists outside. We name through that create with the shape, color, spark, a sound, spark as book. Then when we say a book, it is a shape and color sound together, the process of the sound and the color coming together. It's called it some partition. Actually, that is a book. Then we receive the shape spark and we named the spark with the sound spark. Did the book come from somewhere? Then our friends, we always when we like practicing in our Dhamma, how did we like? Sometimes we face some problem and want to cure our problem and to advise. And then Buddha Father, spiritual guidance teach all ready to get a solution and we get to real path to the Nibbana. So we always discuss that and say with the moment and say with the Terwa Sano.
Everyone Sarnaya answer. May I pay homage at your feet? Teruvan Saranai, Menin Mahansa. Teruvan Saranai, everyone.
Terwan Saranai.
If you follow Buddha's sermons, now you know that objects that come into your mind do not come from outside. These are created or constructed in the mind consciousness, moment to moment, then and there. Though we think things exist outside, the reality is everything is created in the mind using senses due to perceptions. So, as Lord Buddha pointed out, life itself is a creation of perceptions or sanya abhisankarnya, creating over and over again. So, life is a bunch of habits. So, we all have our comfortable zones of our own, isn't it? For example, when we go out, we need to come back to our own home as soon as possible. I want to sleep on my bed, someone would say. I can't sleep well anywhere else. So, likewise, always me, myself, my family, my like that. So, if you come out of your comfortable zone or the bubble you live in, only then you will see how the other people suffer in their lives. We all know that Prince Siddhartha had all the comforts in the world, isn't it? But he went out. He had the feeling that there is something more than the comfortable zone out there. So he went out with that feeling. What is this life? Only then he found out there is a world outside than in the comfortable zone. He came to know what is dukkha. He saw people in dukkha, suffering, dying with illnesses. He asked Channa, will this happen to me as well? So Channa gave the answer, yes, Prince, this will happen to everyone and even to you. So everyone undergoes suffering, even animals. But it's only the human mind can understand this and get rid of dukkha or suffering, get rid of samsara. So now you have this human life. So what are you doing? Why don't you think about it? Rather than being in your comfortable zone, you have to come out of the bubble where your valuable things, money, cars, gold, family, job, houses, and so on is. You have to leave all that one day, isn't it? What you don't know is that you are living in your own imaginary world, in an illusion, in a mirage. People nowadays are too busy even to think about it. Why don't you step outside for a while and think, contemplate? This does not mean that you have to give up everything. No, that's not it. You can have all that, but when you know what's life, what's true Dhamma, what you will come to know is that all these are thoughts only. And thoughts are like waves, like the wind. It appears and disappears. You suffer due to a thought. Actually, you suffer unnecessarily due to a impermanent thought. And when you don't give value to a thought, everything outside remains the same. But what is lost is the value. The value we give to things and objects and people. As our spiritual guidance teacher, Buddhotpada Arana always points out, the path to Nibbana is very pleasant and calm, with the knowing that all are in our thoughts. You don't give a value to the thoughts. You can't find this practical path in a book. So, in Buddhotpada's sermons, you must have noticed that always talks about the inner transformation or abhyantara parivartana. This change or the inner transformation can be explained only through your own experiences. This situation cannot be realized only with Dhamma knowledge that people get from books. As Buddhotpada Arana says, the inner spiritual transformation is the key point. It's a very important thing in Nibbana path. So once you realize the truth, how the senses working, how thought is created, your mental fetters begin to dissolve little by little, and your internal change continues to take place. You might feel that unlike other days, you don't get much attached to anything, neither do you reject anything. Whether you get what you like or not, it would not matter much to you. You would not even feel like running after things that you like. You begin to feel a difference in you as your mental fetters such as lobha, attachments, dvesha, ill will, moha, delusion begin to dissolve little by little. You begin to feel the wisdom. The wisdom of feeling the dissolving of your mental fetters is called the Asvakya Jnana. It's not a thought, it's only a feeling. It's not a thought. Now you know that there are so many practices such as meditation therapy and concentration meditation worldwide. These are not real Buddhism. You can do meritorious deeds or practice Satarasatipatthana with the understanding of Vinaya Loke, or that there is really nothing existent. With the understanding that all these are only mental creations created by the power generated by the sensor vibrations. So therefore, whatever thought you get is limited to only an illusion that comes and goes. When you see this truth with an inner change, you can experience that sensual desires and anger which are dissolved. They are dissolving in your mind. This is the liberation from the mind. Actually, you have to turn inwardly and see this. You must feel then that inner transformation in your mind. With this realization, you will know for sure that there is no truth in thoughts. So, as a result, the inner transformation happens, and that helps you to get out of the notion of self from your mind. But this doesn't happen all at once. No one can drop the notion of individual self at once. This is a gradual process. With the internal transformation, the delicious food, beautiful clothes, and luxury vehicles, that cannot take over your mind. You do not stimulate and indulge in pleasures related to worldly objects. Why? Because there is nothing that exists. Everything is created momentarily and constructed due to a cause. And when the cause vanishes, these things vanishes too. Hetum paticca sambhuta, hetubhanga niruchyati. If there is a slightest clinging, even clinging to a person makes it harder or impossible to reach Nibbana. As our spiritual guidance teacher, Buddhotpada Arana points out, everything are vibrations, which is created in our senses. Senses creates light and sound too. All are vibrations. Different animals have different sensor systems. If we take out our eyes, it will be darkness at night and also during daytime, which means the eye sensor has created the light, and light didn't come from outside. It's a bit difficult to understand, but you have to contemplate on this. This is something that our spiritual guidance teacher, Buddhotpada Arana Mahansa, has opened up to the world, which is light and sound also is a creation of our eye and ear senses and not coming from outside. This is never heard before Dhamma, isn't it? If you don't understand that the light, sound, smell, taste, hot and cold are sense creations, you can't have a salayatana nirodha or the non-existent. So if you want to see the non-existent, you have to understand the senses. In Jati Dhamma Sutra, Lord Buddha said, birth of the eye is your birth. The whole Dhamma is in this phrase. So, if you want to see Nibbana, understand your five senses. Understand the eye, how it is created. Salayatana loko, salayatana nirodho, Nibbana. There is nothing else. This is the key point. We have to understand this. We have to understand that this is a sensor system, a process, a natural phenomena. The mind creation is a natural phenomena. So, this is our life story. We'll try to understand it again. This is the reality of your life. You have to understand the process, the sensor creations. What we think as life is a creation of the senses. This is what you call true Dhamma, the truth about our life. So first, we have to understand what is this so-called soul. So we will see how the soul is created at this moment. So I am just looking out of the window. I can see a mango tree, an avocado tree, a hala tree, and some flowers in the garden. Let us say that I see the mango tree now. The fact that I see the mango tree is that my mind is in the mango tree. That is my soul. Next, I am focusing at the avocado tree. So now my mind is on the avocado tree. As my mind is there, my soul is also there. So as my mind is changing from the mango tree to the avocado tree, the soul is also changing to the mango tree and avocado tree. As I feel that the mango tree and the avocado tree is there, that existent feel is the soul. So then I see a butterfly coming to the flower. So I am focusing on the butterfly and my mind is there. So is the soul. Because I feel the butterfly is there. Then I see the flower and my soul is there now. The existent field is the soul. So now I hear a sound. Now my mind is there. So is my soul. So if I go outside and search for what is that sound, from where it is coming, then all are my thoughts. So that existent feeling is the soul. In simple, that if you see the mango tree, means that you are the mango tree. So you have to understand this moment. In this moment, the birth and death happens. A thought arises and ceases. As you know by now, there is nothing called a mind. So moment to moment, you get different thoughts. So that moment to moment, your soul also keeps changing. Soul is the existent feeling. It happens so fast, there's no time even to identify it. Every moment you get a stimulus from one of the senses, and all the other senses get together, and a thought is created. The existent feeling you get is the soul. So, moment to moment, it keeps changing. So, that's why you feel that you are living. That's how you are created. Actually, this is a natural phenomena or a chitta jnana. And it happens so fast. All these are actually perceptions of sanya. So, if you turn your head around and see several objects, each time your mind appears and disappears, so is the soul appears and disappears. You are born in every object you see and in every sound you hear. So is the soul. The alive feeling is the soul. The misconception we have is that the soul is inside our body or somebody is living inside our body and see, hear, taste, think, and so on, which means me, mine, my soul feeling. There is no living being inside your body. It happens due to a natural process. You have to understand this phenomenon. Now think you are drinking a hot tea and you think I am drinking tea. So are you drinking the tea? Isn't it a natural process? So imagine you burned your tongue while drinking the tea. You think, oh, I have burned my tongue. Likewise, everywhere this I or soul is tied up. That's because you think that there is someone who is drinking the tea. That is the existent feeling. Imagine you are eating some spicy food and you get the chili taste, the burning sensation. That's the feeling. But you tie the I-ness and say, I ate chili and my tongue is burning. But it's a sensor creation. So likewise, you are born in every thought, like two sides of a coin. And so is the soul. So the soul, or I, or myself, always arises and disappears. Actually, this is a natural phenomenon, and nobody is doing this. It's like a branch of a tree is waving. Nobody is doing this, isn't it? Actually, there is no soul. What happens here is every moment a feel arises and disappears. This happens so fast that you think you are living, and with that all the defilements happens. For example, if you take the mango tree again and with mangoes there, okay, sometimes you might want to share the mangoes. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you think, oh, it's not that tasty. I should cook mango curry. Oh, if you see worms in it, you might get angry, and so on and so on. So, how many thoughts were created towards that one mango tree? Sometimes you may have anger towards the mango tree. So, the power is generated that you get a thought that you should cut the mango tree. Though it's merely a thought, the power generates and you might cut the mango tree. That's the existent feeling. I am here and the mango tree there. It's a duality. And you think that somebody is inside. But actually, what you have to understand is there is no one doing it. There is no soul. Every moment a feel arises and disappears. That's a natural phenomenon. This happens so fast that you get the existent feeling. So the I, me, myself, ego is created. And with that creates anger, greed, and all the other defilements. Actually, what you have to understand here is that your body is a sensor system. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, and skin works like sensors. Actually, they are like factories. Their duty is to produce light, sound, smell, taste, warmth, and cold. And mind sensor is where everything gets together and creates a thought. For example, mango tree, avocado tree, and so on. So what you have to understand is that at the sensor level, there is no soul. There is nothing in a sensor. It's just a vibration. A sensor system which you can't control. As soon as the sensors get an stimulation, you get the feeling that you are alive. Moment to moment, we have that feeling. You have a birth and a death. So if you understand the true Dhamma, you won't find death because death is also a thought. Every moment your senses stimulate, you get the feeling of living. It arises and disappears in a moment. So Lord Buddha explained this Anatma doctrine or non-soul, non-existent doctrine. And our spiritual guidance teacher, Buddhotpada Aryan Mahansa, is revealing to the world again. So what you have to contemplate is that though we think there is somebody or I am doing everything, actually there's nobody doing. It's a process that is automatically happening. So we will have another example. Now think that you are hungry, but that is a feeling you get, the feeling of hunger. With your mind consciousness, you identify it as hunger. But was there a hunger in that feeling? No, isn't it? The sound you got for that feeling is I am hungry. If you take a baby who is just born He also feels hungry. He indicates hunger by crying. So now you can understand the feeling of the sensor level. He does not have a sound for that feeling. When he is fed, he will stop crying. But when he grows bigger, only he will have a sound to the feel. So what you have to understand is that the images you see do not come from outside. Nothing comes from outside. We are only associating ourselves with thoughts due to vibration, sounds, colors, taste, smell, and touch are created. Everything is created then and there with the influence of vibrations. This is a natural process and no one is doing it. You need great wisdom to understand this truth. Have to be practical in Dhamma. Everything is created by the illusion in the mind consciousness. Knowing this, you can go on doing your daily rituals, knowing that there's nobody doing this. There's no soul, it's a drushti or a mere concept. It's like an image in the mirror. We know that there's nothing inside the mirror. Once you know the truth, you won't go behind the mirror and check whether there's someone is there. Likewise, there is nothing in the sounds and colors. There is nothing called mind consciousness either. It's only sensor creations due to vibrations. When all the sensors are created, mental formation is created. And so is the soul. Now again, we'll see how this happens. You now know that according to the vibrations, the sensors are created. The created sensors create the mind consciousness. So it is a momentarily creation that takes place depending on each other. So when all senses are combined, mental formations are created. So sounds, colors, smell, taste are combined due to contact. And then a feeling such as the existent feeling comes. This process occurs continuously at a very high speed. So how's the defilements like desire, anger is created? So it happens like this. Due to the influence of the vibrations and sparks, the sensory stimulations occur at various degrees. This generates a current, and depending on that various magnitudes of this current, defilements such as desire and anger are produced. This actually happens according to a pattern. Actually, now you have to reverse this pattern. It cannot be done with knowledge. No one can achieve Nibbana with just knowledge. This happens only with the Yathabhuta Jnana and Yoniso Manasikari, or with keen observation and contemplation. Actually, one must thoroughly practice the Satya Jnana until he feels that there is no truth in a given thought, that it is an illusion. And the path to Nibbana is led by awareness. Now, this awareness is related to the wisdom and also supreme wisdom. Here, you have to know that mindfulness is not awareness. So, this current appears every moment and you feel the existent feeling. Example, I am living. So, with this feeling, every moment to moment, our soul appears and disappears. And Lord Buddha preached a non-soul Dhamma, isn't it? But what we do is with this I-ness or the existing me. We always try to satisfy that I. We do everything to keep that non-existent I happy and content. So to keep that I happy, we need good clothes, luxury vehicles, luxury houses. We listen to songs, use valuable things, go on trips, and go eat good food. These are a very few things we do to satisfy this I-ness. So we are always searching for good things, comfortable things. But the inside burning and wanting never ends, does it? With all this comes the ego as well. For example, I am doing this well than others. I have a better car. I can do this better than this one, and so on. All these are only life experiences, aren't they? I think everybody before coming to this path has gone through this. So we have done all this only to satisfy something which is non-existent, isn't it? For an example, imagine you got a group photo. Maybe there are about 10 people in that photo. But as soon as you see the photo, don't you check how do I look like first? Do I look better than others? Do I look beautiful? You always focus on you first, isn't it? You can identify I-ness or soul in these instances. So likewise, there are many situations in life which we can identify the soul or I-ness, especially if you are working either in a hospital, an office, in a school, anywhere. You can identify when the ego comes forward. Even if you are talking to someone, then also you can identify it. So you must have thought like this: I could have done this better. I could have achieved this. I am better than him. I can cook better than her, and so on. Everywhere you can identify the ego or the I-ness, isn't it? Now we'll see why this happens. Because you think there is someone inside and trying to satisfy that soul, which is never ending. You can never satisfy this soul unless you come to know that there is no soul at all. Why do people want better of everything? Better car, better house, better job? Because inside, wanting and desire never ends. And do you think that will end after getting a better car, a better house? No, it won't, because it's a process. It will go on and on. Not only that, some are trying to satisfy their ego through somebody else, sometimes through parents, sometimes through children, and so on. And once our spiritual guidance teacher told, the squirrels and birds have more peaceful life than us. They eat what they have and take a good rest. In the other way, human beings are always running in a race. They are not satisfied with whatever they have, always searching for something, isn't it? They are always restless. They have depression, mentally unstable, because they want to fulfill their ego. In the other way, you might be scared of something. You have phobias. Sometimes you don't like to associate with other people. So that's also your soul, your I-ness. You have to analyze and see, is there a soul to be scared of? Sometimes you are addicted to things, not only to drugs, but to the phone, to TV, to films. Some people are addicted to songs, gardening, reading, going on trips, meeting friends, listening to music, sometimes to alcohol, cigarettes, and so on and so on. That's also your soul, the I-ness. So people suffer due to these things, especially the young generation. Sometimes people collect stuff. Sometimes they collect old cars, various types of old cars. Some people travel. Now, I have a friend who has traveled 180 countries in the world and still traveling. So, once we know how the senses work, how the mind is formed, then only one can understand that this is only a process, a natural phenomena, and nobody is doing this. Going to satisfy this non existent soul, we undergo stress, depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, and so many other illnesses. So, actually, if anyone comes to know this non soul doctrine, won't they be peaceful and calm because there is no one to satisfy? As once Buddhotpada Arana said, it's so cool and peaceful under a tree, nothing to worry about. So once you understand this sensors, the feel only exists, which means seen with the eye, not I see, hearing with the ears, not I hear, tasting with the tongue, not I taste, smelling with the nose, not I smell, feel with the body, not I feel. Thoughts come to the mind, but not I think. Actually, this feel is natural, but if you take it wrongly as I feel, that will be the problem. There is no one living inside. The feel appears and disappears. One can't do anything about it. So this happens continuously. When you were very small, you didn't have this concept of me, did you? You even didn't know who you were, a girl or a boy, isn't it? Now, Buddhotpada Aranvasa has explained this many times, how our mind was created. That was the Pubbhe Nivasa Anusati Jnana. You can actually understand this with the example of the mirror. The image appears as soon as you look into the mirror, but disappears as soon as you go away. You can experiment it even now. So now we don't go behind and check whether there is someone behind the mirror, do we? So this I-ness or ego is like you are trapped inside your thoughts of me, my, oh my. When you see that actually it is an concept, a drushti, you will be liberated and you will be peaceful. So then you can perform daily activities such as walking, sitting, eating without the false concept of I am doing. And also, you can do all the duties to anybody without any attachment and without having the idea I am doing, I am helping. So everything is happening without me getting involved. My, oh my, you do not give any value to anything, mother, uh, mother, or anything is present, but she does not exist as a person in your mind. No worries and no clinging or grabbing or attachments. So, when you look at something, hear something, or taste something, smell something, feel something, that feel comes and disappears. So, likewise, every sensor sparks and disappears. This happens continuously, and your feelings also changes. So, you have to be always aware of the notion of self or I-ness or ego. Have to identify it with experience. So, how do you know that your I-ness or ego is diminishing? It's by you will know that your inner fire or stress is gradually start to disappear. When you experience this situation more and more, you will be able to continuously have peace. No more burning or mental stress. But it's difficult to catch the mind sensor. If you feel it, it's only a thought, and the nature of the thought is coming and going, there is nothing to think about. Example, the taste is experienced by the tongue. That is only a sensor. However, if you crave for a mango, then you have to understand the self exists. If you taste as take a pineapple, for example, the taste of a pineapple is felt by the tongue. That feel you cannot write in a book. But if you crave for more pineapple, go out to buy pineapple, search for pineapple. It is the self or the I-ness. So when we were born, did we have this existent feeling? Did we have jealousy, greed, or any desires? Then where did they come from? When infant is born, there is this possibility which is like a gum for the defilements to develop in future. This is also process. So Shastra means gum or the taints. Asrava is the defilements. Sinasrava, fading of defilements. And Anasrava is completely disappearing of the defilements. So as long as someone has taints and defilements, that person cannot escape birth and death. So how does the mundane world people think? Actually, you can find examples in the Tripitaka. When a dog sees his reflection in a pool of water, the image he sees is real to him. He believes that there is another dog inside the water. Just like this, mundane people think that they can find objects in the outside world, the world of colors and forms created in your eyes. cannot be found anywhere. There is nothing you can get from the outside world. So only permanent thing is the impermanence. Therefore, nothing can be found from the outside. Actually, what should be declared is not that we cannot find anything from the outside. It is that we do not know anything other than the senses and their activity. According to the Buddha, Salayatana loko, Salayatana nirodho, nibbano. The Buddha, 2600 years ago, talked about how the soul has been created through the vibration and the sparks and the stimulation related to the vibrations, and how the sensual world and mind consciousness are created to the notion of a self. So, if your senses become inactive, what will happen? This is not a knowledge. This must be investigated with the special wisdom. The world is trapped inside their senses and daydreams. People have closed their eyes with their own hands and shout, "It's dark, it's dark." When eyes are closed, truth cannot be realized, isn't it? People are trapped inside a cage called ego and self, which is the wrong view. And they say, my mother, my child, my house, my, mine, me, and I. They are like a bird in a cage, trapped and trapped. This is not being created by someone or just created by itself. With condition, things appear, and when condition ceases, things disappear. So I'm asking you, can you think of the time when you were an infant? You were just like a clean cloth. You had a radiant mind, no concepts of jealousy, ill will, anger, nothing. These were not present. How did all these create? So who are you then? You cannot understand. The truth about all this is you do not have you. You are daydreaming, and you do not know until you fall down onto the ground. After the fall, what is left is the sorrow and pain. Just imagine that you receive 1,000,000 rupees. Now the happiest happiness you get from having it is in reality a suffering. Then you have to keep it safe. This is also suffering. Then you spend the money to satisfy your six senses. Examples, things to see, things to hear and listen to, delicious food, perfumes for the nose, comforts such as houses, cars, beds, clothing for your body. Finally, all this turns into one big suffering. When you lose the money, slowly but surely, it is also a suffering. When you get sick after satisfying your senses and tongue, that is also suffering. Now, listen to the Buddha's word, the Four Noble Truths: suffering, cause of suffering, cessation from the suffering, the path to end the suffering. So, suffering, sensation, or pain is actually also a feeling. I is suffering when the I is thought of as an object. In reality, I is only a vibration, a mental formation or a mental image created in the mind. Is only a power created by the stimulation of all senses. This is true for all six senses. This power of bonding through mental formation or sankhara is a natural occurrence, natural phenomenon. This also refers to mental creations through the mental currents. These mental currents do not exist anywhere. They come and go with the unimaginable speed. The day you realize that you have lost yourself in you, you will also realize that you have never met yourself, ever. Remember that you have never met yourself, ever. You just float in the waves of the vibrations and currents created in the mind. So, this is an example. Say a young man feels the beauty in the nature and gives up social relationships to get mingled with the sky, ocean, waves, mountains, trees, streams, waterfalls, music, and so on. There's another young lady who has similar ideas. These are waves. These waves that both of them have are the same. They tally. So this situation is connected with the vibrations and waves. There is no creator. So if we go back to the story, okay, for the first time, these two people meet and they are happy to talk about nature and the natural beauty. There is no language to this unique understanding. This is a particular type of mental creation and a connection. When you can recognize that these are only energy vibrations and there is no truth in them, so many obstacles and problems can be solved, isn't it? Don't you realize that these are only mental occurrences? Your thought patterns are formed according to the system of vibrations, and it does not end here. And the reason for the journey is the samsara. When the energy vibrations are stopped through the spiritual process, then you find the akampita nibbana. This is also the liberation from the vibrations or liberation from the influence of energy vibrations. In order to gain this understanding, the sakkaya ditthi or the wrong view of the existent soul must be eradicated completely. Therefore, we have to get rid of all wrong views, wrong concepts, contemplate and understand the philosophy completely. Observe how defilements fade in your practice day to day. When vibrations become less and less, this is the heaven in your own mind. Having more vibrations means you are experiencing hell inside your own mind. So one has to recognize the illusions created by the thoughts in the mind. Also understand what dependent origination, the foundation of the Buddha's philosophy. When you experience that the sense of individual self is dissolving, this is called liberation from the concept of self. So I think it's enough for today. Therwan Sarnayaran answer. Do you want to add something to it? Therwan Saranai. Therwan Saranai මෙහෙණින් වහන්සේ.
Therwan Saranai, I think Arana will join us sadhana. Then our time is over.
Yes, shall we conclude the session?
Stop our Zoom talk, okay? Therwan Saranai.